It's time to sit back and check out the RCWR show with Lee Sanders. Get fun, in-depth coverage and analysis from the latest in professional wrestling in AEW, WWE, NWA, Impact Wrestling, or the world of entertainment. From hit TV shows to your favorite sports like the NBA or NFL. All things music, movies, and beyond, while trying to make sense of this crazy world we live in. All while keeping it honest, insightful, and interactive since 2011. And now your hosts, live from the nation's capital of Washington, D.C., Lee Sanders.
Happy Sunday night to you all. Lee Sanders back with you all for our WWE WrestleMania 40 Night 2 post-show coverage for this Sunday night of April 7th, 2024. We are minutes removed from WrestleMania Night 2, and I got to tell you, I wasn't sure how many times Cody Rhodes' Kingdom was going to play there. I think they need an instrumental part in there. They just kept looping the vocals for the song over and over again. It's like, where's the bridge? Where's the little instrumental bridge? Hey, what did you all think about Night 2? I know I didn't even put the poll out. Hasn't even been 10 minutes, and there's already a couple of comments coming in via X, but feel free to sound off, let your voices be heard. X, formerly known as Twitter, at the RCWR Show, or you can hop on youtube.com/the RCWR Show and click on the Communities tab to vote that way. If you've been a long-time listener of mine, then you remember right here, exactly 1 year ago, when it came to our last WrestleMania post-show, so many people were greatly disappointed over the fact that Cody Rhodes did not beat Roman Reigns. And I remember being on that post-show and saying, hey, it's okay. We're going to come back to this point. It's going to take some time, but Cody Rhodes will be your new Universal World Heavyweight Champion. It will go down. WWE is just taking the long route of a journey to tell this story. And my message to everybody, word for word, was just sit back and enjoy the ride. And it was to the point, it was even so funny hearing some of the people that commented during the stream yesterday for night one of our coverage, and they just felt that it was the end of the world for Cody Rhodes, that there's just no way he was going to get the job done here tonight. And as a result of that, they just put a nice poo-poo platter all out there on WrestleMania overall. Some even clocked out and checking out Night 2 because they just felt that it was going to be the same old shtick, and their heart just couldn't bear to see Cody Rhodes go through another loss. But all of that had been rectified tonight as Cody Rhodes, the son of a plumber, the son of a WWE Hall of Famer, he has successfully finished his story. Cody Rhodes finished the story tonight at WrestleMania Night 2 in a grand spectacle of an event. We had some type of an idea because everything was going to be, hanging around Bloodline Rules where pretty much anything goes. We kind of had this impression that, okay, well, besides the usual suspects that would appear, we're probably going to be seeing some other figureheads that maybe we hadn't seen in the ring in a while. And sure enough, we had got some of those surprises. Now, the burning question off the break for those that saw this Night 2 event And even those that maybe haven't gotten around to seeing yet, but I can imagine there's going to be a little bit of chatter out there where a lot of people are going to say, yeah, Cody Rhodes became champion, but look at all of that interference that was just running roughshod throughout that match. To that, I would balance that out by saying, okay, let's be honest. You only had essentially 2 people that got physical with Cody Rhodes there. And that came from Solo Sikoa, and it also came from Jimmy Uso. Everything else was just mainly from Roman Reigns as far as the whole Bloodline Rules goes and everything. I think when you really take a step back and look at it, it actually balanced itself out. You could almost make an argument that Cody Rhodes, maybe in anticipation of what all was going to happen in that Bloodline Rules match, called up a couple of favors from some people, and those that were willing popped up, and then who knows, those that just maybe, I can't stand the injustice of this, I can't, takes no more, decided that they were going to make an appearance on it. Honestly, I love the way that the superstars of yesteryear were utilized for that main event match. I thought it was a nice touch. I was just nodding my head. I couldn't get too excited because it was starting to get late over here, and sometimes I can be rather extremely loud. Especially when I decide I want to open a window, have some fresh air and all that. And I had my window of my home here. I had it open. I'm like, yeah, I'm not interested in screaming too loud. But I like the proper utilization of the WWE legends such as John Cena, Undertaker being incorporated in there, making their appearances, Rock making an appearance. I think, with the exception of Undertaker, I think the other names we expected. I know Stone Cold Steve Austin was a name that was being reported. Hey, he may have something to do. He may have some type of a role WrestleMania weekend, but no Stone Cold Steve Austin. I can't wait to hear what the good respected wrestling media outlets, what they're able to obtain. Was Steve Austin in discussions with WWE? Things just didn't pan out, and that's how Undertaker was able to slide in there, or what? But man, when you just look at that long historic reign from Roman Reigns, combine that with the documentary that was just released on him barely 2 weeks ago, you just got, if you haven't been able to appreciate everything that Roman Reigns did in his respected time, I mean, he really helped build up in-depth, compelling, riveting storytelling, emphasize the hell out of character development in the process of all of that. He, in his own respected way, did help take the company to a whole new level. And now we are at this point where essentially the ball has been passed on to the next player while he goes and enjoys the fruits of his labor, chills on the sideline for a little bit to catch a breather, refresher, whatever is going on. You just can't help but, I know there's definitely a circle of wrestling fans out there that feels a little disappointed that the reign came to an end, right? But you're ushering in a whole new era for the company as well. You all have seen it. We saw the new WWE intro graphic that's running around now, which has a Marvel Studios cinematic type of vibe to it. Really got to go out of your way, as I said on Saturday's Night 1 post show. If you hadn't seen it yet, you really got to go out of your way and you got to check it out when you get a chance, because it's freaking badass. I love it. It's their best intro yet. I'm looking at that going, man, you guys can essentially push this for the next 10 years, and we all will perfectly be fine with that, because if you were to tell me they would switch it up in another 10 years or less than that, I'd say, how do you top that? That'd be my question. How do you top that? Why would you want to try to top that? Because that new intro, it's badass, man. It's freaking badass. But yeah, they're ushering in a new era, and what better way to go into that new era than by having a new WWE World Heavyweight Universal Champion in Cody Rhodes, right man for the job. I'm a little bit concerned about Seth Rollins being thrown into the mix there, because Seth Rollins, for me, he came off like a chump in this when it was all said and done. I mean, we'll talk a lot more about Seth Rollins and his match against Drew McIntyre for the World Heavyweight Championship, but I must say I did not like how Seth Rollins was inserted into this whole mix in the main event. He just came off like a desperate chump once again. We'll talk a lot more about that and how it might tie into future storylines and everything in a hot little bit. I'll definitely sound off a lot more about the main event match. Wasn't as cold in Philadelphia as Michael Cole constantly reminded us. Not as bad as it's cold from the night before, but I was happy to hear that it was a little bit more pleasant tonight, because that means we didn't have to hear a weather forecast every single match. Thank God, because that was just really, and I think he kind of knew he got under the skin of some fans, because you know when Michael Cole's paying attention to what's being said. You just know. Had a funny way about it. I did not see the pre-show festivities. I pretty much jumped right into the actual card and everything. By the way, Philadelphia crowd that was in attendance, I know you all were under great scrutiny for WrestleMania 40 Night 1, and you all represented big time when it came to Night 2. You all had more energy. You all seemed more vibrant. You all seemed more alert. You seemed more cohesive tonight compared to less than 24 hours ago. Yeah, not that I was giving you guys an excuse, but as I had said on the post show and on social media, to which a few people agreed with me, hey, not for nothing, but we got to take into consideration a lot of these fans in attendance most likely participated in WWE World, and depending on what their itinerary consisted of, they probably had themselves a very busy, long day, especially if it began right when the doors first opened and everything. So, a good night's rest does some good, especially if it's a situation where, well, you know what, after WrestleMania, we're actually going to fly out, or, right? Especially if it's one of those things, right? You're not going to stay until Monday. I know some aren't. Some aren't going to stay through Monday's Raw after Mania. Some are like, okay, I've seen WrestleMania. I participated in both nights or just one of the nights. That was important to me. Now I'm going to go on ahead, head back home and everything. But to the point, y'all have better energy compared to 24 hours ago. So you all give yourselves a pat on the back, seriously. Right down to the point, it's the little fine things in detail that I noticed when we had the Hall of Fame inductees come out tonight. And when we got to that part where Muhammad Ali's name was announced, the Philly crowd, that whole WWE crowd in attendance, there was a better reaction and applause for Mr. Ali tonight compared to what went down at the WWE Hall of Fame ceremony on Friday night. So, I mean, almost night and day there. So, just the little things that I noticed. So, first matchup on the night. Welcome one, welcome all, by the way. Appreciate you guys tuning in, however you're doing it live. Let's go through these cards. So, tonight's card only consisted of 7 matches. 7 matches. Drew McIntyre defeating Seth Rollins to become the new World Heavyweight Champion. 10 minutes, 30 seconds. Thoughts on this matchup? I love the way that it began. It started off as a firecracker from just out of nowhere, like an explosion from out of nowhere. Here comes the boom, right? Drew McIntyre Claymore kick to Seth Rollins, you're going, oh man, this is not Seth Rollins' freaking night, especially if it's going to go down like this. But Rollins kicked out, proceeded to roll his way out of the ring, sensing great danger, and you're going, okay, wait a minute. All right, that was a close one there. All right, you really got our attention, right? That's a nice attention grabber, right? And a nice way to open up night 2 of WrestleMania, especially with having CM Punk on commentary and everything. Nice little touch and all that. So you're already looking at CM Punk going, okay, how is he going to play a role in all of this, if any at all, right? But Drew McIntyre, Seth freaking Rollins, I love the hell out of this match. These two were just putting it all out there. You know, you kind of got that vibe from them that, okay, if we are going to be the ones to go out here and we're going to open up night 2 of WrestleMania, then let's go out here and let's give these guys something to root home about. Let's give these guys something entertaining. And I love this. Look, y'all that's been checking out the shows for a long period of time, you know my thoughts when it comes to Seth Rollins and his matches, especially when it comes to those premium live event matches. Rollins never disappoints. He always gives you something that's very memorable. And this was another gutsy, top-notch quality performance. If you maybe want to make an argument for a match of the year candidate, I could buy it only to a certain point. Should it maybe be in an honorable mention category? Yeah, I think that makes a little bit more sense for me personally. But I loved the back and forth that went down between both of these guys. I thought it was a fantastic match, fantastic opener. Look, as far as Drew McIntyre finally winning a championship in front of a crowd, all right, we can now check that off the list, right? I mean, those of us that remember how it was during the pandemic, that was just, and unfortunately, Drew McIntyre was dubbed the pandemic champion and everything. So to see him finally have that big moment where he wins a championship in front of a sold-out crowd, a damn good feeling for me as a fan of Drew McIntyre's, especially seeing how far along he's come, especially in the department of character development and everything. The man has come a long way, I have to say. And you're looking at Seth Rollins. You're going, Seth, you've done a fantastic job as the inaugural World Heavyweight Champion. You've defended that championship through and through, no matter what. I mean, he really put some respect and prestige on that respected championship, without a shadow of doubt. But you're looking at the fact that Drew McIntyre is now the World Heavyweight Champion. You're going, man, there's going to be some interesting times ahead. And, of course, you have the rumblings of the contract negotiations or their lack of between Drew McIntyre and WWE. And as you're going into this match, you can't help but wonder, especially if you're a Drew McIntyre fan, what is this guy's status with the WWE? Has he signed some type of a new deal that hasn't been announced just yet? Are they still ironing out the kinks of a new deal? You've got all these reports that's running rampant and everything. And let me address that because it ties into everything that we're talking about here, which is this. And even to a point that I even saw some of my own colleagues from 411 Mania doubling down and saying afterwards, well, Drew, it was fun while it lasted. Look forward to seeing you in AEW. Now, I'm not taking a personal shot at my colleagues over on the website, but I'm like this. All right, are you coming to that conclusion because you've come across some type of sensitive information through your respective connections that you can't reveal, obviously, but you know something for sure, right? Without a shadow of doubt, you know something that is 100% fact, that this man is indeed leaving the WWE and he's going to be testing out the waters in AEW? Or is this just the impression that you're under? Is this just your respected opinion? Those that call themselves aspiring journalists, those that call themselves a wrestling journalist, need to tread very lightly in regards to the stuff that they're putting out there on social media, because people can be very impressionable with what they're reading. And depending on the news affiliate or whatever that you work for, a lot of people, well, this person said from blah, 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 that when all that person is doing is giving their own personal opinion. So I think not only my colleagues for 4-1 Mania, and you know me by now, long time listener, I call it as it is. Keeping it honest, keeping it insightful, keeping it interactive. That's been the motto since 2011, right? When you say stuff like that on social media, you gotta be careful, because you don't know who's reading what you're saying and ultimately who might be connected to that source, that direct source, the topic at hand that you're talking about. So to see all this crap that's going around about Drew McIntyre and allegedly he's going to AEW, it's like, look, let's deal with the facts. We don't know what the hell is going on with Drew McIntyre's WWE contract status right now. Now, if he just so happens to be participating in the Night 2 press conference, maybe, hopefully, he'll address it. Maybe somebody of the media will ask Triple H Paul Levesque about Drew's status, and maybe he'll give an update, and that'll give us more to talk about. I hope somebody has the common sense to bring it up to Paul Levesque, and he does deal with it and everything. But when it's all said and done, we don't know what's going on with Drew McIntyre. We don't know. For all we know, he maybe has signed a new deal. They just haven't announced it yet. WWE has been notorious for trying to be tight-lipped about their contract negotiations and all that. Now, why am I going on and on about Drew McIntyre and his contract status if he just won the World Heavyweight Championship? Because right after it was all said and done, Drew McIntyre gets into the face of CM Punk, and CM Punk is giving dude his respect. He's giving him his props. He's like, all right, you won. Congrats. You're the new World Heavyweight Champion. That's what's up, right? Congrats, right? You did it. Good for you. And Drew McIntyre just continues to talk mad trash at CM Punk. A lot of it, unfortunately, was inaudible. Right down to the point, CM Punk said to him clear as day, dude, I've got cans over my head. I can barely hear a damn thing that you're saying. So Punk is essentially reading this guy's lips and everything and kind of playing off of there and all that. And at one point, Drew McIntyre asks for one of the cameras to come in close and make sure they get a really good shot, because he wanted to hang this up as a poster on his wall and everything, the way he was rubbing it in CM Punk's face and all that. I can't remember who did what to who physically, or if it was more of Drew McIntyre just spitting out some really nasty foul crap at CM Punk. But CM Punk just freaking, I loved it. He just said, forget this. He swiped the leg of Drew McIntyre, took off his arm brace, put it in his left hand, and just start beating the crap out of Drew McIntyre with it, stomping on him and everything. Loved it. This was just the most hilarious beatdown that I was seeing. Well, Punk looked like he was going Robert De Niro in Goodfellas on him. I loved it. It was good. Next thing you know, you hear the music of Judgment Day. Damian Priest comes out. CM Punk is looking on, and he is ecstatic at what he is seeing. He can't believe it. I mean, he is just laughing his ass off, and he's pretty much like, go ahead. South of heaven, boom, it's over. Damian Priest is your new World Heavyweight Champion. Couldn't happen to a more kick-ass, badass guy. Unfortunately, though, there was something trending as soon as Damian Priest won. What was it that was trending, you all? Bisexual Undertaker. I got to tell you, when I was on social media and participated in some of the forums, seeing what folks were saying and everything throughout the night, that really took me off guard. I had no idea bisexual Undertaker was going to be linked with Damian Priest. I had no idea. I'm like, bisexual Undertaker. And I'm thinking to myself, damn, has Undertaker come out on a recent podcast and said he's been bisexual? Like, what the hell's going on here? I'm like, and I'm clicking on it expecting Undertaker news, and instead everybody's just saying, hey, the bisexual Undertaker won. And it's just, oh my God, you guys are just, I'm like, okay, I'm done with that trend for the night. I closed that out and said that was not helpful. Seriously, I said that was not helpful. I'm good, y'all. But Damian Priest, the new World Heavyweight Champion, it seems that maybe the Judgment Day is back on really good terms again. I mean, looks can be deceiving. Obviously, we got to go into the Raw after Mania, but look, Rhea's got gold. Damian Priest got gold. Yeah, you know, we may have seen them lose the tag titles, but they still got some type of gold in the family when it's all said and done. And look, not for nothing, but Judgment Day could go on ahead and invoke that rematch clause for their tag team titles and try to get a shot against Awesome Truth on the Raw after Mania. And I predict that's going to be one of the matches that's going to go down. Whether or not Judgment Day is going to get those tag titles back, that remains to be seen. But if you were to put me in the hot seat right now, I'm going to say somehow Awesome Truth continues to keep the championships. I could even see a segment or two happening leading up to the tag team match where maybe Judgment Day tries to manipulate R-Truth a little bit, play a little bit of mind games with him, let him know, hey, no hard feelings, we'd like to invite you back to Judgment Day, but you got to do something for us. So it was done in a way, basically, they're taking advantage of R-Truth and his vulnerability and how gullible the man could be. I could definitely see a situation coming about where the tag titles come back to Judgment Day, but my gut instinct right now, I don't think it's going to happen. I believe Awesome Truth will be retaining the tag titles when it's all said and done. So, not bad. Not bad. As far as the first 40 minutes of WrestleMania, a lot of surprise, a lot of fun action going on here. Good stuff. From there, Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits taking on the Final Testament. This was a 6-man tag team Philadelphia street fight. Bobby Lashley, Street Profits, picking up the win. 8 minutes, 35 seconds. I would have to say, as far as maybe the low point of the night or least favorite match for the card, I've got to go with this one. Honestly, I could have done without the match. I don't like saying that. I know there's a lot of people out there that are big Karrion Kross fans. I'm a fan of his as well, but there's just something about his work in the WWE that I haven't been a fan of. I've been more interested in his work outside of the WWE. I've been more interested in the stuff that he's been posting on his social media feeds. Give me any stuff that he was doing in MLW or for TNA, and I can eat that up all day. But there's just something about his work in the WWE that I haven't been getting into. This match was not needed on the card, honestly. It felt more like, and I don't like saying that because all of my favorites are in this one. I've got Karrion. I've got Bobby Lashley. I've got the Street Profits. I love all those cats, man. All those cats. But for me, this just felt more like, you know, a match you would see on SmackDown. It just wasn't needed. Wasn't remotely interesting at all. You hear a Philadelphia street fight, and look, I'm not saying these guys got to be actually fighting out on the streets, but man, the fact that they couldn't take the action. I mean, think about this for a second. You had a special guest referee there in Bubba Ray Dudley from the Dudley Boys. And you're like, Team 3D, and you're going, no Devon, for those of you wondering. There was no Devon involved. And it's like, okay, so we got this type of match. All right, so maybe the action will go over to the concession stand areas. Maybe they'll go deep out into the crowd. Maybe they'll fight over by a skybox or whatever, right? Maybe we'll see a golf cart involved. Maybe we'll see some fun stuff, and everything was just mostly in the ring. You had a little bit of stuff outside of the ring, but mostly everything was in the ring. So it really did not live up to, the type of street fight that many are having in their head, that they're envisioning in their head. It didn't go down that way. So, hey, I mean, for Bobby Lashley and Street Profits, great that they picked up a dub and all that, but wasn't really into this. I could care less about this match. Now, next match, much more redeemable as far as I was concerned. LA Knight, taking on the phenomenal AJ Styles. AJ Styles debuting some new music. Sounded pretty cool. Kind of had more of a rock vibe to it and all that. I liked it. I dug it for what it was worth. It's going to take me a little while to get used to and everything. LA Knight defeating AJ Styles. 12 minutes, 25 seconds. LA Knight. Very interesting what's going on here with LA Knight, because we know that everything that we've seen thus far on the ride to WrestleMania, okay, these are the stars that we're focusing on, and LA Knight has taken a significant backseat in recent months. Yet, despite that, the crowd is still very much into him. They still are in awe of this man and everything, and I wouldn't be surprised to hear that he is still one of the top merchandise pushers and everything. So, I say all of that to say, okay, well, you know what? The fact that you've got a match, WrestleMania, and it's against the phenomenal one, AJ Styles, a former WWE champion. Hey, you know what? It's all right. That's nothing to be, right? That's good. Especially when you're in a position where you're like in the middle of the card. That's actually pretty decent for what it's worth, right? So I love this match. This match was actually pretty damn entertaining. I always get a chuckle when I see LA Knight coming out in the Slim Jim mobile. I love that. I'm telling you, man, in the near future, I don't know if Mattel can make some type of arrangement with Slim Jim or whoever, but I would love to see a LA Knight action figure with a Slim Jim mobile. That would be badass, especially if you did it to where you only made a certain quantity, like you only made about 1,000 of those or like 10,000 of those, and made sure that stores nationwide did get access to them and everything. I would totally be down with that. That'd be freaking badass. Would you guys be interested in something like that? Sound off, let me know. But yeah, I love this match. This was badass. Final moments of this one, Styles tried going for the Styles Clash. Knight ends up blocking it. Styles then tries to go for the phenomenal forearm, but Knight hits the ropes, follows up with the blunt force trauma for the 3 count, pick up the win. LA Knight. I hope that going forward, as far as building up future momentum to essentially go into the next Money in the Bank Premium Live event, I'm hoping that LA Knight could maybe be one of 2 finalists that could win that bad boy. And, right, I mean, really stop and think about it, right? Do you all know the age of Damian Priest? For those of you that maybe don't know, Damian Priest is 41 years of age. Meanwhile, you look at LA Knight. LA Knight just turned 41 a couple of months ago. So as far as you guys that's out there that's thinking, well, LA Knight is too old. Like, just look at the age of LA Knight and Damian Priest. And then, hell, if you want to go a step further, look at the age of your new WWE Universal Heavyweight Champion there, and Cody Rhodes. He's 38 going on 39. So I say that to say this, which is anything is possible, especially under this new era of a regime in the WWE. By the way, I would just be so sad if I did not mention this. How cool was it to see Stephanie McMahon reemerge? Was that badass or was that badass? So for those of you that haven't watched WrestleMania yet, but you plan on, Stephanie McMahon, after the, what was it? Was it America the Beautiful that was sung on this one for night 2? I can't recall, but basically after the anthem was sung, we had got properly introduced to Stephanie McMahon Hemsley. And she comes out, her little little theme song that got remixed. Actually sounds better. I like the new tempo version of it. But she comes out there and you're like, whoa, this is a nice surprise. Like, hell yeah. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys. A big old grin from ear to ear popped up on my face, because I remember that time period when Vince McMahon was away from the company, and Stephanie and Triple H and Nick Khan, it pretty much was their show, and big things was happening for the company overall. Okay? A lot of good things was happening for the company. And you're just looking at that trio going, oh, man, they got this. Bye, Vince. We don't need you, right? Thank you for your services, but we got it from here, right? You're going, okay, cool. And then just to see the way Stephanie, pretty much left the company, safe to say, in disgust and all that. And look, whether or not she knew certain things that her dad was doing and all that other stuff, I mean, first of all, it's a matter of court of public opinion, right? But what actually turns out to be the facts, the hard truths, once we have that, then it's kind of one of those, all right, now that we know, right, we have the actual evidence, we can read it ourselves, we'll go from there. But until that point in time, all you can do is just go with the facts of what you saw was going on with the company and say, well, not for nothing, but when Vince McMahon was ousted from his own company and he was gone those handful of months, Nick Khan, Triple H, Stephanie McMahon, business was booming. So the fact that she is back into the mix, it's kind of interesting, because it almost goes to my predictions. There was a predictions video I did. I can't recall if I incorporated Stephanie in that video, if I mentioned her as far as one of my predictions goes, but I know I mentioned it on a show prior to that, Stephanie McMahon will return to the WWE. But my timetable, I said something along the lines of, if Stephanie McMahon does not come back to the WWE sometime in 2024, she'll definitely come back in some capacity, whether it's part-time or, just sporadic appearances. She will be back like less than 3 years tops. So the fact that we got her tonight, it was just, hey, oh, nice, this is cool. And the whole point of her basically being out there, she was standing beside her man, Triple H, Paul Levesque, rooting him on, echoing the same sentiments that was shared by Paul Heyman during the Hall of Fame ceremony, which was basically, hey, Triple H is ushering in this new era of the WWE, and Stephanie McMahon pretty much told the crowd, this is the era. Officially, she said, this is the era of the Triple H, Paul Levesque. Are you ready, right? Are you ready for WrestleMania? Are you ready? And it was like, okay, that's kind of nice. That's kind of cool and everything. So I wouldn't be surprised if, for the time being, that might be the one and only rare time for the next several months that we see Stephanie McMahon. But I have a feeling we'll definitely see her a lot more. I would imagine she's enjoying being more of a spectator, being a full-time mom slash wife, right? I would imagine she's enjoying that a hell of a lot more than doing her thing in the WWE and all of that. But then again, maybe she liked it. Who knows? We got to hear a new interview with the woman and everything to find out what's going on. Hey, if you guys been enjoying yourselves so far, show some love, especially if you're checking out the stream via YouTube. Make sure you hit the likes. Really helps out a ton, puts more eyeballs on the content, gets us out there to a more wider audience. We were done talking about LA Knight and AJ Styles there. LA Knight, like I said, you could definitely make a strong argument. He should be one of the finalists for a future Money in the Bank run and all that. AJ Styles, I'm a little bit curious where he goes from here. I kind of feel as though LA Knight, AJ Styles, they could potentially run this back as early as Backlash. And we did get an announcement in regards to that next premium live event. That's going to be happening in France. It's going to be a Saturday premium live event. So shout out to our folks over there in the France area. We actually have listeners in the France area overseas. That premium live event is going to be coming up. If you bear with me, I should have an image, or maybe I think I typed in the date. Give me a second here and I'll tell you. It's going to be happening in France on Saturday, May 4th. So we have a little bit over 3.5 weeks to go, give or take. I'm very curious what's going to happen with that premium live event as far as, is that going to be for us here in the United States? Is that going to be a evening premium live event, or is that going to be a afternoon event? I wouldn't be surprised if it ended up being a afternoon event. But I have a feeling that those two are probably going to run it back in a rematch at Backlash. Sound off. Let me know if you guys are cool with that, or if you think, nah, it's about time for them to go in different directions. Sound off. Let me know. From there, one of my most favorite matches of the night. Yes, without a doubt. Some more solid matches on this card compared to night one. I think the majority of us that saw night one and are comparing it to night two, for sure, as far as the quality caliber of the matches go, for night two, definitely was more on point here. But this match right here was absolutely one of my favorites of the night. Of course, I'm talking about the triple threat match for the United States Championship. Logan Paul defeating Kevin Owens, Randy Orton, 17 minutes, 40 seconds. Oh, man. What do I say about Logan Paul? I know for Logan Paul, he rubs a lot of people the wrong way. I get that. But that's his job, and he does it so goddamn well. That's the whole thing, okay? And furthermore, Logan Paul just comes off as such a freaking natural. Such a natural in that ring. He is freakishly leaps and bounds years ahead of his time with everything that he is able to do. I mean, as far as the total package goes, I would not be surprised if in the next 3 years, this guy ends up being a WWE World Champion. In the next 3 years, bank on that, whether you like it or not. That ain't a freaking prediction. That is a fact. It will go down. But Logan Paul, I always am in awe, and I marvel in his performances when it comes to these premium live events. And just when you go, just when you're ready to go, yeah, it wasn't as good as, it's like he's making a mixtape, right? And he's got all these great tracks for just this one album. Right? And he just continues to add on to that album before he releases it in its entirety. So maybe you can make an argument, well, before Logan Paul hangs it up and he's done with wrestling for good, right? Enjoy this compilation of matches that he keeps putting out. And he keeps putting out banger after banger after banger. I love this dude, man. Seriously, some good stuff right here. I was wondering how the Randy Orton, Kevin Owens dynamic would play into the mix. And sure enough, we would soon find out. It was pretty much, look, Kevin Owens, Randy Orton, hey, let's put our differences to the side just to beat the holy bejeebus out of Logan Paul. And then when we think we got him completely out of the mix, then it can be one-on-one, let the best man win. And that's exactly the formula they stuck to. There was a couple of times there where Paul tried to insinuate, taking advantage of some miscues and all that, oh, Kevin Owens inadvertently hit Randy Orton. Oh, is that the end of their alliance? Oh, right. But instead, it was just one of those, okay, all right, well, we got this. We can keep going. What was the name of the guy that was in the Prime bottle? I play first. I skip a lot. I'm looking in my notes here, trying to see if I can find the freaking guy here. I play a lot. Like, what the hell was the name of this dude? Hang on. Try to figure out. Because I thought I wrote his name down. Oh, no, I didn't write his name down. I thought for sure I wrote his name down, but the Prime Bottle guy got his ass handed to him by Randy Orton, because at one point, Randy Orton thought, okay, this is it. I've put Logan Paul out. Now let me just go for the cover. And the Prime Bottle pretty much interfered in that. Randy's going over to the Prime Bottle mascot like, what the hell is your problem, dude? And then Prime Bottle takes off his little face cover to reveal, it's... And we had to have the color commentators announce who this guy is, why we should care about him. I know when I did my research on him, it's a kid. He's only 19 years old, but he's like one of the most respected gamers that's out there, apparently. So that's how he's tied into Logan Paul's camp and all of that. But Randy Orton, I enjoyed seeing him beat the living hell out of this dude, ripping him out of the Prime Bottle, and then delivering a RKO on the announcer's table. I mean, that was great stuff. I loved it. I howled in delight seeing that spot go down. Final moments of this one. Owens had hit Logan with a pop-up power bomb, and in the same process, Orton manages to hit him with a stunner. Owens goes for the cover wait a minute. I'm remembering it right. Owens tries going for a cover on Owens. On Orton. God, say that 10 times fast. Owens, Orton. Jesus Christ. Only get a 2 count. Owens goes for a pop-up power bomb to Orton, but Orton counters it with an RKO. From there, Logan Paul tosses Orton out of the ring, heads up to the top, hits that trademark frog splash of his for Owens for the 3 count to retain the U.S. Championship. I know a lot of people were looking at this match, and I did see some of the predictions that was going on out there. I know some of you guys were like, Orton. Others, Owens. I didn't see a whole lot of love there for Logan Paul, and I will say, even though I didn't offer match predictions, there was a big part of me that was looking at this match and going, well, you know what? When it's come to the premium live events, Logan Paul has almost been kind of 50-50 almost, a little bit leaning more so on the losing side, even though he's been putting out these top-notch performances. I personally felt it was about time for him to have his moment in the sun and shine on the biggest stage of them all at WrestleMania. So I felt he needed to walk away with the W, and that sure enough went down. And man, that's how you properly build up an up-and-coming star there in Logan Paul, who's definitely going to be a force within the WWE for many years to come if he decides to stick around and all that. It's it's one of those deals where you're looking at Logan Paul. Can you imagine the heat that the fans are going to have for this man when he comes out on the next SmackDown and he just glows big time? And he's going to be gloating over the fact that he beat a future WWE Hall of Famer Grand Slam champion in Randy Orton, and he beat a multi-time tag champion, world heavyweight champion, NXT champion, definitely a respected Grand Slam champion of his own, and Kevin Owens. I mean, essentially what WWE has created, and I would highly encourage them to go this route, make him be the new Chris Jericho. No, Chris Jericho's thing, I beat The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin in the same night. Well, you can now have Logan Paul come out there and say, I beat Randy Orton and Kevin Owens in the same night. Let it go down that way. I'm all fine for it. I will eat that up big time. Fun match, though. One of my most favorite matches of the card. Next up, we only got 2 more matches to talk about, people. By the way, if you haven't sound off yet, cast your vote, X, formerly known as Twitter, at the RCWR Show, or on youtube.com/the RCWR Show. Click on the Communities tab. Sound off, cast your vote. Let me know what you had thought about WrestleMania Night 2 overall. Feel free to get your comments in there as well. Shout out to No, who said congrats to Cody Rhodes for finally finishing the story there. Next up, Bayley defeating Io Sky to become the new WWE Women's Champion. 14 minutes and 20 seconds. A bit of a slow cooker of a match, I would have to say. But, you know, after, I would say, 5 minutes, that's when the pace had really started picking up. By the way, as far as entrances go, I felt that, let me look at this card too. Once again, give me a second because I want to look at the card again. For night 2, as far as best in-ring attire goes and all that, I thought Drew McIntyre had the best attire, followed up by Bayley for what it was worth. Because I think Bayley should get an honorable mention as well. Worst attire, that's got to go the Seth freaking Rollins. And, you know, when Seth Rollins had first came out, Seth Rollins, I wasn't sure if I was looking at the cast of the Muppets, or if it was Mardi Gras. I mean, this was really, it looked like a bad LSD trip or a bad weed trip, man. It was just, Seth Rollins' costume was just, it was atrocious, man. It was freaking atrocious. You gotta go out of your way and see some of the still shot images of that one. Bayley and her entrance, she had these very weak servants that were trying to do their best to hold her up. They were trying to use themselves as you know, pillars, if you will, of a chair support for her, as they were carrying her halfway down the ramp on their shoulders, and she was dressed almost like a Nubian Egyptian queen, per se. And finally, I don't know if she just kind of did a hand gesture to let them know, go ahead, put me down, this ain't working. But they all were weak, man. I saw them brothers, they were struggling to carry her down that ramp, and I'm looking at them going, come on now, man up, hit the gym, get that upper body level right. You know, I maybe don't work out extensively like I used to, but I would have done a better job holding her up on my respected side than the other guys. It was hilarious. It was a really hilarious spot there. But yeah, like I said, the first, I would say, 5 minutes of the match, you know, kind of felt more of a fill-out kind of process to me. But afterwards, that's when the girls really started stepping it up. And then from there, the match just, you know what? As far as women's matches, when I look at both nights, this was more of a technical match. If you're looking for that technical, this was the match for you. I love this because, at some points leading up to this match, I'm going, okay, Io taking on Bayley, but Bayley's got the size over Io. So how is this really going to? And sure enough, when you get to the actual match, you're going, man, Bayley looks like she's going to be able to clobber the hell out of Io here. But considering how it was laid out, like everything made sense, how the match was structured and all that. And I dare say, as a longtime Bayley fan, I love seeing Bayley not just come out of a WrestleMania with a victory, but Bayley come out as the new women's champion. Final moments of this one, Io Sky going up to the top rope looking for the moonsault, but Bayley manages to counter it into the Rose plant. Sky springs to her feet, charges at Bayley, but Bayley catches her with a clothesline of her own. Bayley then heads up to the top, hits that trademark Macho Man Randy Savage diving elbow, hits the Rose plant, gets the 3 count that way. Interestingly enough, Damage Control nowhere to be found as far as running interference in this matchup. I think WWE missed out on a really cool opportunity here because it would have been badass to see a moment go down. Now, look, I don't know if she would have been down for it, but I'm pretty sure she would have been able to do a couple of moves here and there. I would have loved it. And this is just a mark-out fan in me that appreciates wrestling from yesteryear. But I would have loved it if Bull Nakano could have made some type of an appearance in there. And then you have a conflicted Asuka and freaking... who's the other one? Kairi Sane. They're a little bit conflicted and all that. That would have been a really nice touch. And then just imagine if Medusa would have came out there. And it's like, oh, man, Medusa and Bull Nakano, they're reunited, after blah, blah, blah years. I mean, that really, in the same ring, that would have been nice. That would have been a really nice touch and all of that. But at the same time, you can almost make an argument, well, Lee, that would kind of take away from the loaded up special appearances that would have come in the main event match, right? But still, I was just baffled at the fact that the rest of Damage Control didn't come out there, right? And as far as I know, there was no stipulation that was added to the mix and all of that. So, look, I know some of my friends, especially those in the podcasting world, I know they are fans of Io and her work and everything. But for me, these last couple of months of her championship title reign was sadly ice cold, and they needed to do something new. They needed to freshen it up again here. And Bayley, I just feel, has run her respected course as a heel. I think she can. Now, look, it doesn't mean she needs to go full-fledged babyface. At this point, she can definitely be a tweener. You feel me? She can be a tweener. But it's definitely safe to say at this point, as far as full-fledged heel Bayley goes, that's now in the books, and I'm totally down with that. Nice change of pace for SmackDown. It's going to make even more interesting matchups, particularly Bianca Belair. We know about all the history that she's had with Damage Control. She doesn't give a damn what type of light Bayley has seen. I mean, rest assured, now that Bayley has that championship, Bianca Belair is going to try to do any and everything in her power to get back into that position of being the women's champion. But then, as we've seen the past couple of weeks, Naomi and Bianca, they've butted heads a bit, right? So that's going to be some interesting dynamics that's going on, and obviously it's going to put Naomi in a very delicate position. And then what of Jade Cargill? Is Jade Cargill really all about that girl power, or is she all about just herself, her brand, right? Me, myself, and I, quote one of my favorite De La Soul songs. Is she maybe going to ultimately go, and that direction, right? So you've got a whole lot of interesting dynamics that's going on the SmackDown side of things for the women's division. So nice little reset there. They still got to figure out what's going to be going on with the Rhea Ripley side over on Raw and everything. And, of course, the Bloodline Rules match for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship. Roman Reigns losing to Cody Rhodes 33 minutes and 25 seconds. Some people could make an argument that few minutes should have been trimmed off of this match, but you know what, man, considering that the pay-per-view ended, officially, what was that? Maybe like around 10:30. If you actually bear with me a second, I might be able to find a timestamp. Let me see here. Yeah, it kind of feels like it was maybe like 10:30, but then they spent like the last 20 minutes, celebrating and all that good stuff and everything. I liked all the appearances that went down in this. Remember what we had said when I was last on the air with you guys. Would The Rock make an appearance? And then if The Rock does make an appearance, how would he be negated in the whole absolute total power as a TKO boss? How would that all be negated? And I like the way that it was essentially handled, right? So you have Solo Sikoa. Actually, no, you had Jimmy Uso kick things off, super kicking the hell out of Cody Rhodes. And then that pretty much gets negated by Jey Uso coming out there. Two of the brothers fighting, pretty much picking up where they left off from night one. And then I think Jey was the one that speared Jimmy from off the stage ramp. They both went crashing through a table. So, boom, both of the brothers are negated. And then a little bit later on in the match, seems as though Cody Rhodes is going to finish the story. But then out of nowhere, Solo Sikoa comes from out of nowhere, spike to the throat, puts Roman Reigns over Cody. Referees counting like, okay, this should be it. No, because Cody kicks out. Solo's pissed. Solo picks up Cody, yelling at Roman to finish the story, and they do a really great spike spear combo. I'd love to see that happen a lot more with those two as a tag team. I mean, I think they're sleeping on that. WWE, make that happen, yo. That'd be pretty badass. You're thinking for sure that's going to do it. No. We get another kick out. Solo is beside himself. Then you bring out John Cena. Oh, yeah, one of the last times we saw John Cena, he got his ass handed to him by Solo Sikoa. Okay, cool. Right, so you got the history there, especially incorporated with the bloodline. Cena's history with Roman Reigns and all that. So I loved all of that revisionist history. There was great, fantastic revisionist history that was going on here for what it was worth. I loved it. So they negate each other as Cena ultimately puts Sikoa through the announcer's table. Great freaking stuff. I loved it. John Cena thinking, all right, yeah, right. And then you get the Rock's entrance. Rock comes out. Cena's like, oh, God damn. All right, we're doing this. Okay, right? It wasn't like he was scared of the Rock, but it was just kind of like, oh, damn it. All right, I remember last time we was in the ring together. It's kind of one of those type of deals. And then it almost kind of seemed like Cena was hawking himself up a little bit. Like, okay, all right, let's go down memory lane here, right? That was just, man, Rock, Cena. Oh, man, I was geeking out. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I was geeking out seeing the two of them just selling that moment. Not even laying a hand on each other for several seconds, letting the fans have that moment where they could take their pictures, right? Just let the moment just breathe. That's the thing. Get that feel from the crowd, feed off of that energy, and let this moment breathe for what it's worth. and they did a fantastic job doing that before going at it one-on-one there. I loved it. I love seeing that, man. I was geeking out. From there, squared off. Rocky hitting John Cena with the rock bottom. Then the Shield music hits. You're going, I'm not going to even lie to you guys. My black ass said, Dean Ambrose? I'm not going to even lie to you guys. I'm going, wait a minute. They worked out some type of a deal? Like, wait, what? Like, what's going on here? No, it was Seth Rollins, but man, Seth Rollins didn't even get a moment in the sun there. He didn't even get it because, yeah, it was badass. He showed up in his retro Shield gear and all that. But then Roman Reigns catches him with a Superman punch and laid his ass out cold. So once again, you're going, Seth Rollins, he can't catch a break worth a damn. I thought that was the most bipolar thing that they could do with Seth Rollins, because you could make an argument that the Seth Rollins character was greatly distracted, that he cared more about what was going on with the power structure within WWE than his own respected championship reign. Because of that distraction, it cost him the title. Because he overlooked Drew McIntyre, all those things, it cost him the title. He wasn't laser focused enough, right? Too many distractions. And man, just his incorporation in this whole Cody Rhodes, Rock, Roman Reigns, he's just come off as a simp. I must admit, I didn't like it. I damn sure didn't like how he was incorporated tonight. I think, honestly, Seth Rollins was not needed. I think, if anything, the way you should have done Seth Rollins, you should have had a backstage interviewer, maybe try to catch up to him later on in the night, get his thoughts on losing the championship, asking him where does he go from here. Just have him be a man that is totally silent, doesn't want to talk, pushes the cameras out of his face and walks on. And if you were to set it up that way, and okay, so that's probably the last time we're going to see Seth Rollins. Okay, cool, but at least it's understandable, right? Whatever. So anyway, Superman punch there to, who was it? John Cena? I'm trying to think who it was. Seth Rollins showed up. Yeah, Seth Rollins gets the Superman punch from Roman Reigns. Lights go out. And then the Undertaker is in the ring. And he just choke slams the hell out of The Rock. Lights go back off. Come back on. Undertaker is gone. Badass right there. I freaking loved it. So you had a nice play of incorporating your legends from yesteryear, involving them. But I got to tell you, man, if they would have been able to strike some type of a deal with Stone Cold Steve Austin just to see The Rock and Stone Cold one more time, oh, man, that would have been the ultimate freaking goosebumps of a moment, let me tell you. Seriously, that would have been badass. Closing moments of this one comes down to Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins. Reigns, still pretty salty over what happened back in the Shield days. Sees a steel chair, takes it to the back of Seth Rollins, sends his ass rolling out of the ring. Rhodes ends up hitting Reigns with not one crossroads, not two crossroads, 3 crossroads, picking up the W in the process. Get ourselves a new Universal Heavyweight Champion that way. Post-match, we had Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Randy Orton, Jey Uso, LA Knight, CM Punk, John Cena, Brandy Rhodes. Can't forget the lovely Brandy Rhodes was there, standing right beside her man and everything. Mama Rhodes was out there. A couple other family members of the Rhodes family. I know his father-in-law was out there as well. It was a really cool, badass moment, man, seeing everybody out there. even asking for Bruce Pritchard and Triple H to come out there. And that was really a touching moment because Cody Rhodes grabbing the microphone, he's like, I know these two guys who I really want to thank because without them, he pretty much said my return to WWE, it wouldn't have been possible, especially this moment, it wouldn't be possible. And he's like, I know this guy probably isn't going to come out, but Bruce Pritchard, and it's like, yeah, Bruce ain't coming out. You can forget that. And then he says, I know this man, he asks to, not be called out, but, Triple H, Paul Levesque, like, I'd love it if you could come out too, because, wouldn't be back without you guys. So they both made their way out to the ring. Triple H was last to come out. And I love seeing just genuine, heartwarming, good feelings that was just coming from that ring, especially from Bruce Pritchard and Triple H. When you go back and you look at the moment, particularly with Triple H was actually tearing up when he was not only exchanging words with Cody, but when he was starting, to embrace him for a handshake and hug. Triple H got, very watered-eyed, real quick and everything. It was a nice touch. It was a really nice emotional touch. Rhodes going out of the ring, hugging Michael Cole getting very emotional as well. You could just tell, like, how much this meant, particularly to those three guys, but then particularly just to have those key names that I mentioned, even CM Punk coming out there, giving, quick cameo, giving a congrats to Cody, hugging him and all that at the same time before rolling out. It's a great touching moment, great send-off to close out WrestleMania Night 2. Really nice, good feel moment, man. I loved it. I freaking loved it. And it really does feel like a whole new era of the WWE that we are officially in right now. And I'm all fine for it. So when we look back on WrestleMania Night 2, overall, great night for in-ring action. Well better executed and everything compared to Night 2. This is where it gets interesting because when you look at both nights, obviously they got to stand on its own merit, right? But if you just take this night, if you were to say, look, not for nothing, but let's just pretend Night 1 didn't exist, right? It was just all about what we saw tonight for Night 2. This is your WrestleMania card. Like, this is it. Then you could say, yeah, you know what? Because they created really cool, kick-ass memories that fans are going to be talking about for many years to come and all that. You have some really damn good matches. Yeah, you know what? This is definitely up there in the WrestleManias and all that. But Rollins versus McIntyre, damn good. Logan Paul, Randy Orton, Kevin Owens, damn good match. Bayley, Io Sky, all of those, damn good. Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, that lived up to the hype, a year in the making. It's sad that they didn't have any, that they couldn't work something out with Sylvester Stallone, right? City of Brotherly Love, the whole Rocky Balboa franchise and all that. I was anticipating that, but they didn't do that. It's okay, though. Hey, as its own, it was still pretty good. The incorporation of celebrities, Snoop Dogg, definitely one of the greatest rappers of all time, unlike what they did the night before with Lil Wayne. Yeah, you can miss me with that. Okay? Snoop Dogg doing pretty damn good out there. I actually enjoyed him on commentary, but here's the thing. You got to treat Snoop Dogg on commentary like a delicacy, right? You can't spam him out multiple times a week, every single week. That's a delicacy. That is a special treat, right? So I love that touch of Snoop Dogg on commentary. And then he came out later on to announce the WrestleMania attendance numbers as, check this out. It looks like Night 2 had more people in attendance compared to Night 1. As we had mentioned on Night 1, The sold out attendance was 72,543. Tonight's attendance for night 2 of WrestleMania was 72,755. Now, what's interesting is when Snoop Dogg gave the number, that the final total tally number that he gave, when the graphic popped up for WWE, you're going, okay, so who do I trust? Do I trust what Snoop Dogg said? And keep in mind, Snoop Dogg loves his gin and juice, which he was out there promoting, but we know how much he loves that, right? So it's like, did he really read that right? Because WWE's graphic, and history has shown that WWE, when they make the announcement of the tally number and you see the graphic, it's always in sync. But this was a rare case where Snoop is saying one thing and the WWE graphic is saying something else. So I'm going with the WWE graphic for total attendance for both nights. They have it at 145,298. I don't know. Maybe I'll give Snoop Dogg an out. Maybe he was trying to make a joke and it went over my head and other people's heads. I'll give him that out. But the WrestleMania total live attendance for both nights combined, 145,298. Congratulations, WWE. I mean, that is big business popping on so many levels. Good stuff. Damn good stuff. All right, so let's see what you guys had to say via X, formerly known as Twitter, at the RCWR show. And then I'm going to also pull up what you all are saying on YouTube as far as how you guys voted as well. We'll do like we did last night too, and I'll definitely read a few comments from the Cage Match net site in a hot little bit. But first things first, let's see what's going on. See what's going on via X. Shout out to the 21 plus folks that's watching via X right now. Hello, guys. All right, let's see here. How would you rate WrestleMania 40 Night 2? Your options are flawless show, great show, average show, terrible show. With 6.5% of the votes, terrible show. 45.2% of you felt that tonight's show was flawless. And top dog, 48% of you felt it was a great show. I did see 2 comments under that poll, by the way. Shout out to Lightning, who says that there was such a big difference from Saturday. I'm sure Lightning means as far as the quality of the matches go for night 2 compared to night 1. Yes. Shout out to Ron Diesel, who said compared the crowd tonight to last night, it's like a different crowd. It really was. Yes, I would definitely agree with that. A lot of people were trying to say, hey, well, it's such a spacious arena, kind of like an outdoor. So, the sound, it can easily escape. And it's like, nah, these people don't look like they were entertained. These people look like they were completely out of it, yo. Yeah, it's night and day. It was night and day. All right, let's see what else we got here. Any other comments that I'm seeing in here? We are caught. Hang on. We are caught up, but let me just hit on mentions here. Well, actually, you know what? Yeah, we're good. We're good. Sometimes when you're on X, you got to hit mentions just to make sure that you didn't miss anything. Okay, now let's see what you guys have to say via YouTube in the community section here. Shout out to my Curb Your Enthusiasm fans. Tonight is the series finale. Looking forward to checking that out. All right, we got 20% of you that are saying average show. And I put this out on YouTube. I put this out, I would say 15 minutes early. Like right before the main event. I like kind of getting a head start and everything. So it's on everybody's respected devices as far as notifications and all that, right? So you can, oh, okay, that's ready to go for me. Great, thanks, Lee. But yeah, this is still kind of early on YouTube. 20% average show, and I'm seeing a tie at 40%. for a great show and flawless show. I know that's going to pick up a lot more later. For those of you that missed it, kind of circling back to see the final tally for WrestleMania Night 1, where we're standing at right now, 8% of the votes. This is again for Night 1 of WrestleMania 40. 8%, terrible show. I see a tie for 25%. Average show, awesome show. And top dog, 42% of the votes said it was a great show. And then one more time, let me look at the polling results for Night 1 via X, formerly known as Twitter. 7% of the votes for Night 1 of WrestleMania, terrible show. Again, 7% of the votes for WrestleMania Night 1, terrible show. 23% average show. 30% flawless show. 39% great show. Appreciate everybody that had cast their votes. Now, let's poke our head on Cage Match, and let's look at kind of what we did last night. Let's look at the most critical rating and review, middle level, and then a really, really positive, right? Most critical, middle level, most praise, right? We'll do it like that. And then while I'm pulling that up, I would have to say, as far as overall, if you were with me last night, I said Night 1 of WrestleMania, I'm leaning towards a C+, B-, and I said if you were to push me for a B-, I'd have to put an asterisk by it because I need to see the second half of WrestleMania and then, pretty much go off of that. So I would say that Night 1 officially in my book, its final grade is a C+, right? And look, anybody that has gone to college, you guys know that our professors are notorious for, oh, hey, right now, here's how the midterm grades are looking right now, right? Putting this temporary grade of a placeholder here, right? Looks like if class were to end right now, this is potentially what you could have. Of course, this could change, right? So for me, it's like C+, maybe a B-, right? Maybe a B-, but I'm going with a C+. Now, as far as Night 2 of WrestleMania goes, man, I really like this one more than Night 1. I would have to say, in the moments too. That's the other thing, the moments as well. I would have to give this one a B+. I can't go any higher. I can't go any lower. Definitely not an A in my book. Definitely not an A+. I got to go with a B+. I think that's honestly pretty damn good. All right, let's see what we got here. Right now on Cage Match. Wow. Night and day. If you were with me on Sunday night, I said Night 1, folks were given an overall rating of, I think, 6.25. Night 2, so far, overall rating is 9.21 out of 10. Let's look at the ratings here. Let's go for the most critical, which right now I'm seeing a 6. I see another 6. I'm looking for the lowest critical one. I'm still looking. Okay. I only see like 2 or maybe 3 6s that's in here. Now let's break that down and let's look at who has the shortest take. Because, unfortunately, some of these joints, they read like essays. That looks a little too long for my personal taste. Both of the 6s are long. Both of the 6s are long. Okay, well, look, I'll just go with one, and, it is what it is. ECW, WWE, AEW, 6 out of 10. Pretty much almost an exact mirror of Night 1, A fantastic opener. Both women's title matches being very, very good. The IC and US matches were wonderful too. And then a whole lot of messy, boring, clusterfuck nonsense and every other match, along with both last night and tonight's main events just being overbooked Roman specials. Cody won. Oh, dude, when you're trying to, there's a big difference between you won something and you're won on something. Okay? Okay? So, like, when you won something, that is W-O-N, okay? That is W-O-N. I mean, you got me pausing going, wait a minute now. It is late at night over here, right? But when you won something, it's W-O-N, okay? Anything involving numbers, and you don't want to just use the actual number, in this case, 1, then you go O-N-E. All right, now, spell check, my brother, spell check. Okay, let's keep rocking, though. I'm going to show this person the proper respect and read every single thing that they said here. Let's see. Cody won. Great. Perfect. He should. Totally in agreement. He should also, a year ago or something, and the story is finished or whatever, but really it's just the same thing even under Vince, that Triple H so obnoxiously thinks he can just have his wife come out and wipe everyone's memories. Now, let's pause on that one. Nobody is even dare saying that, you know, Stephanie McMahon is pulling a Men in Black and just, hey, forget about those allegations against my dad. Hey, forget about this. Hey, forget about that. Like, mark my words, what we saw of Stephanie McMahon tonight, I, for one, would be very shocked if Ari Emanuel and the rest of the TKO board, I would be very shocked if they go, yeah, Stephanie, let's go ahead and let's put you back on TV in some capacity. Let's put you back, in WWE in some type of capacity. I would be shocked at all of that. First things first. I mean, if you're Ari Emanuel crew and you saw what all had went down with Vince McMahon and just the allegations after allegations, and you're like, God damn, man, how much more is going to come out? Okay, and right down to the point, I mean, he essentially has been eradicated from the history analytics of WWE. Like, oh, we don't mention that name. All right, it's literally one of those type of ordeals. I think in the case of Stephanie McMahon, just the mere fact that you had some of those reports come out there, and then the latest one we had talked about already where she's being implicated and all of that, I think right now TKO is going, let's see how the rest of this plays out before we do anything as far as, right? And if it turns out Stephanie is truly innocent, she had no, right? If the evidence, if everything is revealed, no, looks like she didn't have anything to do with her dad. She wasn't doing any damage control on behalf of her father. She wasn't cleaning up his messes, giving somebody some hush money, blah this, blah that. As long as it's a case where none of that has occurred, then it's safe to say that after the dust has settled, and potentially Stephanie McMahon will be back in some capacity in the company on a regular basis. But I just look at what all had went down tonight as just, yo, this is a new era. Now, ECW, WWE, AEW goes on to say that Triple H is still being mentored by the guy. Well, that's your opinion. You know, you're entitled to that, right? Not saying it's wrong, not saying it's right either, but you're definitely entitled to that. Just because most of the wrestling is 60% better doesn't take away the level of emotional and mental abuse and annoying turmoil that comes with a WWE main event. A bit too melodramatic for my taste, despite people talking about good storytelling. There was very little logic in the last 5 minutes. Bitching out Rollins like that was awful. Now, I do agree with you on that, which we just talked about not that long ago in at great length. I do agree. I do agree, which is why, again, for the record, they should have just had him leave in frustration. Because remember the last burning image that we saw of Seth Rollins after Drew McIntyre defeated him? He was crying. And he actually said to Drew McIntyre, if you read his lips, he said, you deserve this. And he walked away. He was very emotional, though. He was crying. So that should have been one of two of the last burning images in the back of the minds of fans. And like I said, you could have had cameras easily catch up to him. He's at a loss for words, doesn't want to talk, and that honestly should have been it for him. And I can't help but laugh that clearly in the... Actually, hang on. And I can't help but laugh that clearly Undertaker was there because Stone Cold couldn't be bothered. We'll find out in the next 24 to 72 hours if Stone Cold, if some type of a deal was being worked up for Steve Austin to appear and things fell apart, or if Taker was the go-to guy all along. Like if Austin couldn't give two shits to come out for a hot second and beat up The Rock to add to the story about bloodlines and legacies and history, why really should I? Look, you don't need... that's almost like, well, if we're going to go that route, then we could also make the same argument that, well, man, we heard the reports that Hulk Hogan was supposed to be incorporated. So if Hulk Hogan, isn't out there, if he doesn't care, then why should I? You could also make that same argument, and I bet you some people would be like, yeah, man, don't bring up the Hulkster. It's like, okay, well, then don't bring up Stone Cold Steve Austin. You could also make that argument as well. So it's a little bit, but for the most part, he does make some interesting points. All right, let's go. That was our most critical. Believe it or not, I'm looking at the ratings here. That was the most critical. Let's look at the most positive. Most positive. And I am seeing a lot of 10s. Let's go with... That looks like a good 10. Let's, hang on. I'm looking at a short one. I'm just skimming these real quick. See, I'm seeing more so of a recap on one than the 10s I am seeing. Yeah, I'm seeing another recap. And another recap. So you know what? The one I was looking at initially, I really, really liked it because from what I had skimmed off the break, they were mentioning previous WrestleManias. Let me just make sure I got all the 10s out the way. My God. Remember what I was saying the other night about some of these guys on the site? They write essays. Like, I'm looking at this one guy. I BS you now. You got to see it for yourself. This one guy, my God. If you were to copy and paste this in Word document, this looks like at least a 2-page essay. Jesus. Are we trying to get a job for the Chicago Tribune? What's going on here, man? Okay, so I'm going to go with this 110 that I skimmed real quick. It was from Tommaso 12. Shout out to them. I'm going to keep this short and simple. I love it short and simple. This might be the best WrestleMania of all time. I think it beats WrestleMania 19, 17, and 21. Had everything from a cash-in at Money in the Bank, gripping stories, great matches, amazing historic moments, feel-good moments, surprises, and an amazing main event that will be the landmark for the Triple H era. What a great show, and having Cody Rhodes finally dethrone the Tribal Chief and finish his story was absolutely incredible. Thank you for watching WWE Universe. That reminds me, I believe it's premiering this week, the WrestleMania 40 Behind the Curtain. It's supposed to be premiering on YouTube. Oh, I am looking forward to that. That should be very, very riveting story there. All right, let's look for, so that was your most positive, and we just read a most critical, right, with a 6. Let's look at a middle of the road joint if we can find one. Oh my God, I see one, but it's a page and a half long. Okay, I see one that's more doable. Let's come back to that one. Let's come back to that one. I might go with yeah, you know what? I'm going to go with a 7. I'm going to go with that 7 I was looking at. I was about to go with an 8, but let's go with a 7 out of 10. That brings us to Khan the Viper. That's actually a pretty cool name. 7 out of 10. Here's what he had to say. Bad opener. Unnecessary filler street fight match. Styles versus Knight was not bad. Triple threat U.S. title match was good. Only bad thing was seeing that influencer. Io versus Bayley beats Rhea versus Becky, in my opinion. No, I still like the Rhea versus Becky Lynch, especially knowing that homegirl had 104-degree fever and she had strep throat. I just look at that and I just see two things come to mind. When I hear that type of stuff, I go, man, you got heart. You got grit. You're tough. That's what's up. And then I look at the overall performance and I go, wait a minute, you were able to do all that with 104-degree fever and strep throat? And that wasn't even you at your absolute best. That wasn't even you at 100%. And that leads me to the point of, man, just imagine if you were fully healthy. Just, man, that match probably would have gone to a whole new other level in its own respected right and everything. So, yeah, I wouldn't say that it was a bad match. Yeah, no, I wouldn't say it was a bad match. Better than Rhea versus Becky? What do you guys think about that? You think it's a tie between those two matches, or was one better than the other? I don't know about that. I don't know. That's a tricky one. That's a tricky one. Main event was not good as last year's match. I really preferred last year's main event over this one. But the way Cody completed his story was nice. Thankfully, there was not too much overbooking like the previous night. Yeah. I would agree with that. Yeah, I like that. I like what Khan the Viper. That's a really cool screen name, by the way. Khan the Viper. I like what he had to say. All right, so I'll read maybe one more. We'll do one more. And if you guys want to sound off, throw some comments up in the chat real quick. You can definitely do that before we get ready to shut it down here. Let's go with MXCX. The 3 final matches, the goddamn 3 final matches elevated this Mania. What an event. Bayley winning, the end of the Tribal Chief, Cody's era starting, everything was so on point. I just can't believe how good was this event. Not every time we have something like this, and I appreciate that again. I'm part of it. My tears, they kept coming out of my eyes after the end of an era. The dream, or I have to say, the nightmare, came true. This is written with only full emotion because of how good feel this event was. This is the kind of event that made me fall in love with wrestling. I hope the things just will keep getting better after this. I had to clean that up just a little bit there for him. Very nice words. Very nice words. It's been a recurring theme like these past couple of months, but particularly going into WrestleMania is, man, you know, it just feels so good to be able to tap into that wrestling fan from yesteryear and teenager or back when I was a little kid, and, you know, interesting, fun times that we're in, you know, as wrestling fans and all that. Let's see here. Oh, that's almost half a page. I'm not going there. I ain't touching that one. A risen by 8 out of 10. Probably the best night 2 since WrestleMania has been 2 nights long. Drew Seth was okay, but it says a lot when the highlight of the match is Drew taking a break to send out a tweet mid-match. That was funny. He put out a tweet saying, bored at work. Hilarious. And you're going, wait a minute, he's tweeting this on some stranger's phone, and then you're going, instantly, he has to know them. That has to be, right? And then sure enough, later on, we see him kiss the brunette that's beside the guy whose phone he borrows, and it's like, okay, that's his wife. The other guy, maybe brother-in-law, cousin, or whatever, right? But no, yeah, that was a funny little spot right there. Philly street fight was mid, agreed. Knight versus Styles got overshadowed by them changing AJ's theme. Really? Overshadowed? I don't know about that. That's very strong. The U.S. title triple threat was fun. Again, though, the highlight was a non-wrestler. I wouldn't even say the highlight was a non-wrestler. No, I wouldn't say that, no. I Show Speed, that's the guy's name, who was obviously and hilariously not told he should not be swearing. Outside of that, Bayley versus EO was great, and Cody Roman 2 was a perfectly overbooked shit show. I loved every second of. Okay, and that's why he is at a 8 out of 10. All right. Let's go through 2 more here. I'm going to refresh just to see if somebody posted something new in here, especially if it's short. Oh, we got a new one. We got a new lower rating, a 5 out of 10. Big Boss, 8993. After this, we'll do one more. Main event, getting beat up by a bunch of old dudes in their late 50s isn't such a great look. Imagine trying to create the Attitude Era 2000-2001 mess with all those distractions and interferences with the same guys, but 22 years later, and they aren't active and they haven't been on television. Also seems like it was a last-minute decision. Undertaker is wearing a hoodie. This is where I need to push back. Myself and many others of brothers and sisters in the podcasting world collectively, we try to prepare you guys as early as the Undertaker Last Ride documentary series. We told you guys that, look, when Taker gets ready to, announce his retirement, and we predicted here on the show that, the retirement, it could be announced as early as the Last Ride documentary, and then sure enough, it was and everything. We all tried to prepare you. We said, look, this Last Ride documentary, get used to it because you're going to be seeing Mark Calloway, The Undertaker, in that format going forward from here on out. And as far as the vintage Dead Man Undertaker goes, wearing the long trench coat, cool mortician hat, and all that other stuff, that's over and done with. And sure enough, to Mark Calloway's credit, he has not reverted back to that incarnation of The Undertaker that we've come to know and love. He is now just straight up Mark Calloway these days. So I got to push back. On that a little bit. Someone who was at the end said there was someone hiding under the ring, and I didn't even expect Taker. Also trying to relive Austin Rock WrestleMania 17 by using each other's finishers to get that wow reaction. A huge moment like Cody finishing the story should have ended clean. It was tainted with all of those interferences from old retired wrestlers. I got to push back on that too, because if you really stop and look at that match, once again, Solo Sikoa got off a hit on Cody Rhodes. Jimmy Uso got off a hit on Cody Rhodes. Those negated. when The Rock came out there, Rock was only able to get in, if I remember it right, I think The Rock pulled off a rock bottom, did he not? No. He did the rock bottom to John Cena. But he did at least whip Cody with the belt before Undertaker came out and chokeslammed him. Then you had Roman and Cody laying on their bellies, both trying to go for a weapon. Because I remember there was a steel chair and there was a strap belt that was in the ring. Roman was the one that eventually was able to come to his feet, and he was trying to decide who he was going to hit first. Was he going to hit Cody, or was he going to hit Roman? Or was he going to hit Seth Rollins? And he ended up hitting Seth Rollins. And then from there, Cody was able to finish it out. I actually, if you go back and scrutinize the hell out of that last final sequence there, they actually did a really good job in making sure that Cody was not touched that much for what it was worth. And essentially, the other guys that came out on both respected sides, they pretty much were negating each other out, right? So, and we, not for nothing, but we kind of knew what to expect beforehand. So it's not like, oh, this is just coming out of nowhere. This is stupid. This is, you feel where I'm coming from? Anyway, he goes on to say, Drew losing the title left a bad taste in my mouth. I can see that for a lot of people too, because now it's like, what, especially with the rumors, what's going on with Drew, right? Damian Priest isn't a main event level talent. He is a mid-carder. This should be the end of, actually, hold on, all right, because that's a run-on sentence. Okay, so, man, that is harsh. Damian Priest isn't a mid-event level talent. He is a mid-carder. I got to push back on that one. I mean, look, when Damian Priest was first introduced to us, through NXT and all that, pretty bright career. I remember this guy back when he was wrestling as Punisher Martinez. That's how long I've been watching that freaking guy, right? This dude has come a long way, not just from an in-ring standpoint, but as far as working on the personality presentation, the interactions with the fans and all that. That dude has made leaps and bounds of improvement. One of the best things that happened for his career is being incorporated with the Judgment Day. It did him a lot of freaking good, especially when Edge, Adam Copeland was involved with them, at the very beginning there and all that. And look, the man just won the championship. This is my message to everybody. The man just won the championship. We're still in that honeymoon period. Can we not pass judgment on the brother and just be like, mid-carder? Let's see what the guy is able to do first. Here's the best part I love about this time of the year, especially when it comes to WrestleMania and all that. I always call it the experimental phase, so to speak, because you got the WrestleMania blueprint of, okay, this person, let's have them walk out as champion, and then let's have this person. And you get this period there where we're pretty much going in the spring break and then summer where, okay, let's see what this person is able to do for these next few months. And by the time you get to SummerSlam, if that person has done a good enough job, then they should successfully be able to go in, retain their championship / keep that momentum going. Otherwise, okay, now we're going to go in a different direction. So to my point, the man just won the championship. As far as mid-carder and all that, like, I know there would be a lot of fans, even the most anti-Damian Priest fan would go, nah, I got to admit, even I've seen this guy make improvements. He might not be one of my favorite top wrestlers to check out weekly, or he may not be one of my favorite WWE superstars, but hell, even I can admit the man is making some type of improvement. Let's cut the guy some slack. Let's see what he's going to be able to do in the near future and then judge from there. He does wrap up. Let's see here. Where is he? Ended clean, tainted, all those interferences with Drew, right? Damian Priest. This should be that. This should be the end of Karrion Kross, the Karrion Kross experience. I talked about this earlier. I can't put my finger on what it is with Karrion Kross, but like the stuff in WWE is just not translating well. It's still not quite matching up to what the guy has notoriously been posting on his social media feeds over the years. Yeah, I don't know what it is. I'm not liking this whole, what is it called? The Testament? I'm not liking it. I'm just not liking it. And I'm a fan of his, but I'm not liking it. Io Sky should have won since they did all those title changes. And Bayley doesn't signify a new era. Punk commentary wasn't good. Anyway, some decent matches in general. Yeah, as far as CM Punk on commentary, especially saying, hey, I deliver the pipe bombs, and, there really wasn't anything there as far as commentary goes from him, but he did serve his role rather well. I think the main execution was he cost Drew McIntyre his World Heavyweight Championship. So the rivalry between McIntyre and Punk, the plot thickens between them, right? All right, one more. And that was a 5 out of 10 rating that I just read. Mr. Cute Face. All right, now. 8 out of 10. Very fun WrestleMania weekend. Sunday especially. The main event was wild. Tons of finishes, legends, and twists. This was a great way to kick off the new year of wrestling. I'm far from a big Cody fan, but the finishing of his story was done so well. Could have done without seeing the Stooge brother love on my TV. I hope we get a Rockin' Cody program. Priest cashing in was awesome too. Just a lot to like. I don't think WrestleMania needs to be 2 days, but 1 day wasn't enough, so it does make sense. All right. Good stuff right there. Good stuff. Let's see if there's been any change in the polling since last we poked our heads in there. Hang on there. I got one open right now. I'm looking on X. Yeah, still the same. 7% terrible show. 23% average show. 30% fantastic show. 39. Oh, no, that's night one. Forgive me. That's night one. I apologize. So, yeah, of course it wouldn't change because that's the final tallies. But, no, let's look at, there it is. Slight change. 6% of the votes, terrible show. 45% of the votes, flawless show. 48% of the votes, great show. One more time, poking the head in for YouTube, seeing what you guys are saying. Shout out to those watching live via X, by the way. Appreciate you guys staying up with us. We're getting ready to wrap it up. Slight change. Now we have, this is on the YouTube poll. Now we have a triple tie. We have a triple tie for flawless show, great show, and average show at 33%. You guys know how to just with the YouTube poll. I love you guys, though. All right, so look. Quick programming notes for you guys. Yes, it's our yearly tradition, much like with the Hall of Fame ceremony show that we do, which, by the way, appreciate you guys that's been going out of your way, checking that out, whether you're checking out the audio version or you're doing the webcast version. I was taking a look at the numbers across all spectrums earlier today, and I see you guys are doing your thing. WrestleMania Night 1. Numbers are continuing to grow, but I'm saying what's happening there. I would imagine for night 2 of our WrestleMania coverage, that's going to continue to grow. So you guys have been doing phenomenal. I love you all. Appreciate you guys. Thank you. As far as Monday night goes, our yearly tradition, man, we are going to be here for Raw after WrestleMania talk, post-show fallout. We'll dive into the latest in wrestling headlines. some entertainment news as well. I know something that kind of went over the heads of everybody because of WrestleMania and all that. There's a new updated list of TV shows that got canceled. And if you are a big sci-fi fan like me and you were heavily invested in the new rebooted Quantum Leap, that series, no more. It got canceled. I'll share more in regards to the news and also like what other shows has been canceled, my reactions to that. And we'll get into some headlines. So that'll be a fun show. We'll be live as soon as Raw goes off the air on the East Coast. So 11:05, 11:15 p.m. Eastern. Join us for that. Shout out to our sponsors who have been working with us the past couple of weeks. Much love to them. Particularly, I want to give a shout out to our good folks over at, over at Dubac.com, whether you're trying to look for the perfect gift for him, her, or for the kids, Dubac.com has you covered. They've got awesome cashback deals, deep discounts, coupons, all for shopping online, and we're talking about for good brand name stuff as well. So make sure you check them out, Dubac.com. Also, we got hit up by a new sponsor within the last 72 hours. I want you guys to definitely show them some love and check them out, fullbellyvegan.com. If you're interested in switching up your eating habits, safe, mind you, and at the same time losing weight in the process, fullveganbelly.com. They can definitely help. So make sure you check them out as well. We got shows available for you guys on demand and on the downloads wherever you get your podcast. Just search the RCWR show. Once again, if you enjoyed this, please smash the hell out of the like. More likes, the better. It really helps out. Share. Wherever you are, however you're accessing this, just do all of those things. It helps out big time, especially on the YouTube. Do that. Thanks tremendously. I always have a lot of fun WrestleMania week doing this. It's my favorite time of the year out of the big four that come from WWE. WrestleMania is the one where I just love it the most. And amazing ride. I cannot wait to see what's going to happen on that Raw after Mania. We can all be in agreement. Last year was, there was nothing to really, write home about for last year, honestly. Shout out if you remember last year, too. But I have a feeling that there's going to be some very interesting things that's going to be going down this week. So keep those fingers crossed, and we'll see what's going on and everything. All right, y'all, that is going to do it. Until next go round, I am wishing for all of you all to be safe and most importantly, be kind to one another. And I will see you guys next go round. Adios, y'all. Take care.